Breaking news to tell you about right now. A high police presence was seen throughout parts of Montgomery today. The situation is being handled by law enforcement. We've just learned about 2 armed robberies and a suspect police are looking for. There's a news conference going on right now, so let's listen in. We
received a call around around 8:30 in reference to a Donald Ryan Russian, a white male, approximately 41 years of age, 6'1", 230 to 250, blue eyes, blonde hair, wearing blue shirt and blue jeans. What was disturbing about this call is we had multiple robberies, but this initiated from an incident that happened in the county at 8:15 at Gulf State shop, and that's I believe it's a weapons shop. And it was a robbery there at 8:15, and what was stolen was a gun and ammo. Approximately at 8:31, we had a robbery at Exxon on Vaughn Road where beer and money was stolen. Immediately after that robbery, we was notified by the county of a robbery that happened at Gulf State at 8:15, and it fit that particular description and MO. At that time, the county sheriff officer responded to the incident on Vaughn Road, was able to confirm that the guy in question at 8:15 at the Gulf State's facility was the one, in fact, that did the robbery at the Exxon on Vaughn Road. At that point in time, we was able to confirm the same guy, but also get a tag number. We was able to put that tag number out to all responding units in the area. Approximately 19 minutes later at 8:50 on 35 Mitchell Street at the Adams Drug, we had a armed robbery there where prescription drug medication was stolen from that location. At that point in time, we saw the need to gather up all the resources and really come up with a plan. At 9:10, we had a community concern and awareness that we had to put out. So at that time, we did a kind of official lockdown in these particular areas where we had heavy police presence. In the area of Harlan Gardens, Delrata Elementary School was locked down. Goodwin, as well as Alabama Christian Academy, was all locked down because of the concern of this individual may be in that particular vicinity. Also, we had a possible sighting at 9:10 as well of this individual around Drivers Row, and the information that we had was the subject with the gun. So at that location, at that time as well, we had heavy police presence in the area of Chisholm, Highland Avenue, and Davis Cafe, and we will continue with that presence now. 9:20, we had officers in place around the Toll Bridge Road at Wetumpka, 231 North and 65 North as well. This to any sighting of this individual, because we see the need to stop this individual at reasonable cost with the information that we have.
Here's a picture of the suspect they're looking for again. His name is Ryan Rushing, and according to the police timeline, sometime around 8 o'clock this morning, the suspect stole a gun and ammunition from the Gulf State store in Montgomery, then went on to rob a gas station where he took money and beer. Police say then went to an Adams drugstore in Montgomery where he got away with prescription drugs. Police are very concerned about his mental state and possible drug use. They are asking, if you see this guy right here in your picture, do not try to approach him or confront him. Simply call 911 and police will do their best to take him in peacefully.
We start with breaking news this afternoon. First at 4, this man, Donald Ryan Rushing, on the run from police for much of the day today and considered armed and dangerous, is now in police custody. He was captured in the South Lawn area, and police say he was asleep when they found him.
Police have been looking for him since about 8:30 this morning after they say he stole a gun from Gulf State Distributors on East Shirley Lane, then robbed the Exxon on Vaughn Road and the Adams Drug Store on Mitchell Street.
12 News reporter Brian Henry at City Hall. Brian, what do we know?
John, we'll get right to it. We have Chris Murphy with us right now, the City Director of Public Safety. Mr. Murphy, you guys had a news conference about 2 hours ago announcing the capture of Donald Rushing, but we now have some new developments. He is now at the hospital. What more can you tell us on that?
Well, Brian, since we last talked, at the scene, we got the vehicle that was involved, and we noticed evidence from the earlier crime. So we're now executing a search warrant on that vehicle, which ties a lot of the things together. We are formally charging him with 2 counts of robbery and 1 count of theft, 2nd degree, and he is in the hospital and he is under the influence. So we're having to monitor him, and he needs to be in a more sober state before we can have an effective interview. But for as bad a day as this was concerning this, it really ended well, and the system worked, and that's what I was so proud of.
Give us some sense of what it's like behind the scenes for you guys today. I saw just a glimpse of it at the command center not too far away. Officers on the phones, making calls, receiving calls. What was it like for you guys?
Well, it's really how it should work under the incident command system. We had Captain Jenny Smith was the on-scene commander out in the field. Even when we didn't really know where he was, she was commanding that. Then we had the chief and the chief of staff, chief of operations, all the pertinent people to make decisions at this command center. But we were very appreciative that the community gave us a lot of calls, but we had to run those down, and many of those were not ended up being effective leads. But you have to filter that, and if you're at different places or you're out in the field, that just adds to the confusion. So it really worked well.
Director Murphy, I realize there's some things you can't talk about because you haven't had this conversation yet with Rushing, but what you do know at this point, can you give us some sense of what's going on in his life, or do we even know at this point?
Well, we have some indicators that he was going through some emotional things in his life. And then that's exacerbated by the fact that he committed this robbery and we believe committed this robbery and stole a weapon, stole ammo, and then 2 more robberies after that. We know alcohol was involved in that. We know strong indicators that drugs were involved in that. And so that certainly heightens it and makes it a very dangerous situation.
All right, Chris Murphy, thank you so much, and please stick around for the tape interview that we talked about. Well, John, we'll throw it back to you. This was the city on edge for about 6 or 7 hours today, but it ended on a successful note, as we all know now, with the capture of Donald Rushing.
And we begin with a breaking news update this afternoon. Ryan Rushing, the man wanted for robbing 3 businesses, is now in police custody. Officers say he was asleep when they captured him at a home on South Lawn Drive this afternoon. Right now, Rushing is in the hospital. Montgomery police say he is under the influence and needs to be in a more sober state before they can question him. Live near the scene where Rushing was captured is WSFA 12 News reporter Casey Drescher. Casey, what's the latest there?
All right, Sally, like you said, the manhunt came to an end in this neighborhood. I'm a couple blocks up. Actually, the home was about 3 blocks that way on South Lawn Drive. And like Ernest Finley said, he was out cold. He was taking a nap in that home on the 300 block of South Lawn Drive. Now, when our crews showed up, there was a heavy police presence, multiple law enforcement branches on the scene. We could see investigators coming in and out of the home, interviewing folks on the side of the home and trying to get a good look inside the vehicle, that Hyundai Sonata parked outside this home. That's the vehicle police describe as Rushing's vehicle. They were trying to get a good look inside that car to see what was inside. Now, the scene cleared about an hour ago, and overall it was a relatively calm in the neighborhood. Now, coming up at 5, I'll tell you what neighbors saw, what they told me, and just described the chaos that ensued as this manhunt came to an end here in this South Lawn Drive neighborhood.
We were able to successfully put in custody Donald Rushing with no injuries.
A massive multi-hour search for an armed and dangerous Montgomery man is over. Right now, Donald Ryan Rushing is in police custody. Good evening. Thanks for tuning in. I'm John O'Connor.
And I'm Valerie Lawson. Dozens of state, county, and state law enforcement swarmed Montgomery looking for an armed robbery suspect.
At one point, several schools and Alabama State University were on precautionary lockdown this afternoon. The search for Donald Ryan Rushing started around 8 o'clock this morning. It ended about 2 p.m. when he was caught in a neighborhood in West Montgomery. WSFA 12 News reporter Brian Henry continuing our live coverage now. He's at Montgomery Police Headquarters. And Brian, you could see the relief on the faces of the chief and mayor once they knew that Rushing was in custody.
That's right, John. There was a lot of high drama going on today for much of the day, and so much of it went on in the command center not too far down the road from the Montgomery Police Department. Investigators on the phone that you're seeing now, making calls, receiving calls, getting the word out about Donald Ryan Rushing, not only a danger to himself, but possibly to others. By 2 p.m. today, the word came that Rushing had been captured alive. He was found sound asleep in a home on South Lawn Drive.
What we know, we did a kind of a deliberate, slow approach when we made entry into the house, and based on the information that we received, it was a deliberate approach to this one particular room. And what I'm surmising is that he was asleep, and so went through the process that way just to kind of secure him, make sure that room and that his immediate wingspan there was no weapons to be found at that time.
And John, this is the very latest information on Donald Ryan Rushing. He is in the hospital still under the influence from whatever he was taking this morning. And because of that, police have not had a chance to really talk with him at length about what's really going on in his personal life.
WSFA 12 News reporter Casey Drescher is live there now. And Casey, what did law enforcement find when they found Rushing there?
Well, Val, right off the bat, Rushing's Hyundai Sonata was parked in the driveway of that home on the 300 block of South Lawn Drive. Now, we're a couple blocks up from that. We're at the entrance to the South Lawn Estates. I spoke with a source with MPD, and they say because Rushing is hospitalized and under the influence, they have not been able to conduct an initial interview with him. So there will not be any further details regarding the details of his arrest, what was found in that vehicle, what was found in the room where he was found, until they're able to conduct that initial interview. But you could clearly see that Hyundai Sonata parked in the driveway, and investigators coming in and out of the house, interviewing several folks on the side of that home and really trying to get a good look as to what was inside that vehicle. And I did have a chance to speak with some neighbors, some community members of this area. None of them wanted to go on camera, but they all told me that police alerted them to stay inside, police knocking on doors, telling them to stay away from the windows, stay inside. Some people didn't even know what was really going on until I informed them that Rushing had been apprehended in their area. One woman told me that she saw police with guns drawn and a canine unit entering the home. She saw Rushing come out, but again, that was one woman's report as to what happened. But given the chaotic nature of what unfolded here in the capital city, I would say this scene was relatively calm after that police presence left the neighborhood. But a close to 6-hour manhunt came to an end right here, and thankfully everyone is okay.
Team 12 coverage now is WSFA 12 News reporter Alan Henry. And Alan, you obtained the video of the store clerk at that Exxon station being held up.
That's right, John. The video shows the clerk here at the Exxon station being held up by Rushing as he entered the doorway there and immediately start to scope the store out. You can see in the video here, Rushing approaches the counter with a case of beer. After making sure the coast is clear, though, he grabs a gun from behind his waist and points it at an obviously scared employee. The cash register was not opening, and the two exchanges words for a few seconds until a frustrated Rushing points the gun in the air and fires a shot into the ceiling. The cashier struggles to open the register, but when he finally does, he hands a massive pile of cash to Rushing, who takes it and the beer out of the store. And thankfully, John, neither he nor anyone else was injured during today's crime spree.
The search is over. The man police desperate to find ultimately captured asleep. Good evening, I'm Mark Bullock.
And I'm Valerie Lawson. Ryan Rushing, described by police as unstable, led them on a day-long manhunt that closed businesses and forced schools on lockdown.
We've been on top of the breaking news since this morning. Our reporters and producers providing new developments on air and online, including live news conferences with police.
It all started with a gun theft at a local gun and ammo distributor. Then police say Rushing used that gun in 2 armed robberies, one at a gas station, the other at a pharmacy where he reportedly demanded drugs. It was 4 hours later and 16 miles away when police ultimately found him asleep in a home in the South Lawn neighborhood in South Montgomery.
We begin our Team 12 coverage with reporter Brian Henry.
6 hours of intensity mixed with high drama. The command center was abuzz with action. Investigators on the phone, making calls, receiving calls, talking to anyone who might be able to help them locate Donald Ryan Rushing.
Thankfully, no one was injured and no one was inside at the time. There were no customers at all.
That nearly 6-hour manhunt came to an end in this home right behind me.